what's up folks, Lachlan here, Mustang Woodlore. So today we're going to be talking about pack liners, and while it's not the most exciting topic in the world, I figured it would be good to kind of go over. It's been a topic I've been wanting to talk about for a little bit here, and I think it's a pretty essential piece of kit. I used to just use a bunch of stuff sacks, try to keep things dry in that, using backpacks that were supposedly waterproof, but I found that backpacks that are supposedly waterproof tend to be more water resistant. After 10 hours of rain, rain has a way of finding its way into your gear. So started using a pack liner quite a few years ago and haven't turned back. And there's some other added benefits that I'll go through in a little bit here. Why would you want to use a pack liner? So like I was saying, some backpacks are advertised as waterproof. But there's accidents happen. You could be doing a river crossing, crossing a brook, fall in, your backpack gets completely submerged, or you're in a canoe, your backpack falls out, or just more than likely it's going to be rain, just prolonged periods of rain. I remember one trip up Mount Paugus, it just rained all day long and into the night, and just everything is just soaked. And luckily I had a pack liner, everything was nice and dry. But water just has a way of seeping in seams and through the top and getting into your gear. And if you're using any down products, it's really, really important to keep it really dry, because you're probably not getting that dry until you get home, unless you lucked out and you had a nice weather window where you could lay it out on a rock in some sun, or there's a branch that you could hang it over. But usually, if your gear's getting wet, it's because it's raining, so you're probably not going to have some nice weather to do that in. There are some other methods I've heard of where you're getting like a vapor barrier, put the sleeping bag over you, or quilt, and your body heat will eventually kind of dry it out. But that's only to a certain degree. If it's sopping wet and all the down has lost all its loft, it's pretty much game over until you get home and get that thing dried out. So it's all about preventing that from happening. So that's where the pack liner comes in. So without further ado, we'll just jump right into it. I've got a few different ones here. This is the compactor bag is the one most people know, and that's the one that I use mainly. But I have a couple other ones that I've played around with. We'll talk about those. So the first one, if you've never used a pack liner, or maybe this would be the first one that you'd ever try, it's just a basic kitchen bag. It's just a drawstring kitchen bag. Everyone's got one of these probably hanging around at their house under their sink. And this, it's a good, really cheap option, just to try it out. Or if you just don't have one of your pack liners around. There's been times where I just couldn't put my finger on where I had my pack liners, or I was over at someone's place and I was going to go for a hike and it looked like the weather was bad. Just kind of grab a garbage bag, and it works in a pinch for sure. One of the lightest options, actually the lightest one of all these that we're going to go over, but where it really lacks is in durability. It's just a cheap garbage bag, so you can easily puncture a hole in it. In my experience with liners in general is eventually you will get a hole in it and have to be replaced. So, for like a day hike, or maybe a couple nights, an overnight, a couple nights, totally fine. You just have to be really delicate, careful with it, because it is really delicate. But not a whole lot to go over with the garbage bag here. Most people know how to use that. I will say, basically how you use a liner, for those of you that have never used one, you just put it down inside your backpack, and that just keeps everything nice and dry. So especially one of the things you'll find is that when you're placing your backpack down on the ground, it tends to soak up water. If the ground's wet, if it's raining, and that can get down into your quilt and your sleeping clothes, even sometimes when they're in some stuff sacks. Maybe not like a straight up dry sack, but I have had stuff, you can just feel that moisture inside seep through. So you basically just put it in there, and I got my here's my hammock gear burrow. It's the 40 degree, and one of the added benefits to this is that you don't have to use a stuff sack. You can literally just stuff it right down in there, And this is great when you get up in the morning, you just want to break camp. You don't have to, mess around with those little tiny stuff sacks where you're playing with all those straps, and it basically turns into a really hard object that you're trying to pack in the bottom of your bag. You get a couple of those in there, and you just always get like a weird bump on your back, and you have to constantly readjusting it. Well, with using the liner and just shoving it down in there, it expands and takes up every little gap, every little piece of space. So it's really space efficient. So just push that all down there. You put your puffy, your sleep clothes, anything, some electronics, anything you want to keep dry, and then you take the top of it and you twist it. I call it making like an elephant trunk. And then you want to tuck it in, but you want to tuck it in so it's facing down. So if any water did happen to get into the pack, you'd hit the top of that, and then it would follow down this, and then it would go, down inside the pack. And eventually, a lot of packs have drainage holes, but it'll, that'll keep all your gear dry. So you definitely don't want to just bunch it up and leave it at the top, because rain will come in. Or water, and it'll pool in the top here and eventually get down your gear. So just kind of twist it and tuck it down in at an angle there. So that's really nice. Like I was saying, just having packing it like that. Then you get to camp and you just literally pull it out. You don't have to mess around with the stuff sacks, and it's not as compressed as much, which really helps with the longevity of the down, especially synthetic insulation, where you really want to be careful about how much you compress that, because it does degrade over time. And so it lofts up a lot faster. And the other thing is, if you're not carrying a ton of stuff, you don't have to compress it all the way down. Sometimes literally half of my bag, I won't even press it all the way down, just leave it kind of half compressed, and it just lofts up that much faster when I get to camp. It's better for the down. So yeah, that's not a whole lot to say about the garbage bags. It's a good place to start. Use it in a pinch. Everyone has one kicking around. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. Alright, so the next one that we're going to look at is tried and true compactor bag. Now this is what I typically use, and I've kind of come full circle back to this. I have a couple other ones that I've been playing around with, and I just really like the durability of this, the size, the price, everything really. It's nice thing about these is they're really, really large. You can fit a lot of gear in there, and it works really well for like a high volume pack. Something like I just picked up they had them on clearance. Dustful Gear clearing out their silverbacks. The 50-liter pack is going to be I'm going to play around with this as my winter pack. I was using the Osprey Talon 44, which I still use, but this just has a bit more volume. It'll just swallow up all the my quilts. In the wintertime, if I'm hammock camping, get my top quilts and my under quilt, puppy jackets, extra layers, socks, and all that stuff just takes up a lot of volume, even if it's not very heavy. So I wanted something a little bit larger. So, that little garbage bag, you could put it in there, but it's just not gonna hold everything. So that's where like a large compactor bag like this comes in really handy. I can put that all the way down, and this particular bag has a huge collar on it, so it does come up past that. But typically, I'll put all my my quilt, my puppy, all that stuff we discussed, and I'll compress that down so it takes about half my pack. Do the elephant trunk, tuck it in, and then on top of that I'll place things like my food that's in a sil nylon stuff sack, and like sunglasses, cook kit, stuff that doesn't matter if it gets wet. But with this all the way down there, you can see that it comes right up to the top here, so I've got plenty of room to actually pack in here. And like I said, I like to have a lot of material to fold over. So the compactor bags, most grocery stores will carry them. Therefore, you have in a kitchen, you have a garbage compactor, and they have to be really tough because it's compressing that down. And this is really, really durable. I've had this exact one for close to 3 years, and I'm still using it. Buy them at most grocery stores. I did check Amazon. You can get it. It's like $5.99 for a 5-pack, so a little more than $1 a piece, which is very, very reasonable. They do sell big packs of them. People are part of buying like a roll of them. They'll pretty much last your whole life if you're, pretty careful with your gear. So, just every year inspect it and just see if you get any holes in it and just replace it. But the thing will last for a long time. The other nice thing about the compactor bag is that because it's so large, you can use it for a lot of different things. Typically when I get to camp, I set everything up. If there's going to be any rain, or sometimes even if there's not any rain, just a little added protection, I'll pack any like extra things in the actual backpack, and then I put my backpack inside of here, especially from under a tarp. If there's any spray, it just kind of keeps it clean and dry. You can use it as like a doormat. Although I try to keep this pretty clean, so if it's going to be muddy and raining out, I probably wouldn't do that. But if it's going to be dry, sometimes I use organized gear. If I'm going over sitting next to a fire or something, I'll bring this over sometimes and just lay stuff on it. You can also use it if you do have some spray coming in and you're under kind of a minimal shelter. You want to keep your foot box kind of a little more dry. If you put your sleeping bag or quilt, the foot box in that, you will have to deal with a little bit of the moisture that your body's producing, but you occasionally kind of fluff it up and just get some of that moisture out of there and ventilate it. But yeah, lots of different uses. I have heard of some people actually using this to hang their food in. I typically wouldn't do that myself, just because I try to keep my food smells away from anything that I'm going to be sleeping in. Just don't want to invite any critters over. But yeah, that's the compactor bag. It's just kind of tried and true. People have thru hiked with it. And it'll last the entire thru hike. Cheap, and it just works. So that's that one. The next one is the Nylofume bag, or Nylofume bag rather. These are made for when you fumigate your house. If you have an infestation of like insects, they'll have these like fog bombs they put in your house, and there's like chemicals go over. It's pretty nasty stuff. But they sell these bags where you can put all your clothes in, or just household items, to kind of keep all the chemicals off of them. And I kind of have a love-hate relationship with these. I love how light they are, but the thing that I'm not too crazy about is the noise factor. These are really kind of crinkly and loud. I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick it up, but it's kind of like a potato chip bag. And I mean, the compactor bag has some of that too, but for some reason, once I get it all packed in my bag, and I don't really hear it too much. Sometimes with this, when I'm hiking, I'll actually hear it kind of moving around in my backpack, and it just drives me nuts. I do still use it, but because it is really light, it's like an ounce lighter than the compactor bag, maybe an ounce and some change. So I still do use them, but I've just kind of gone back to the compactor bag just for the durability, the extra size, and it's a little quieter. But occasionally I'll bust this one out too if I'm just really trying to shave some weight and on a particular trip or something. They are a little bit difficult to source. It's not like you can just go anywhere and buy them. There's some websites that sell them, but usually they sell them in kind of larger quantities, like 25, 50, 100, and I don't need that many. But I did find somebody on eBay that was selling singles, and I'll throw a link in the description below. I believe Lightsmith also, that's an ultralight site, they sell these as well. So there are a few places you can get them. It was like $2.75 a piece with free shipping on eBay, so that's really reasonable. And they actually were advertising them as a great pack liner. So this, in comparison to the compactor bag, if I hold that up, you can see it as far as how tall they are, they're very similar. This is a little bit wider. I have noticed when, in regards to the sound, if it is kind of humid out, it almost, the crinkly sound almost goes away completely. So it is nice when it's a little humid out because I don't really hear that. But this is a great option if you just want to save a little extra weight over the compactor bag. Durability has been great. There's really no give to it, like not much at all. Like a regular garbage bag, you can just puncture it with your finger or a piece of gear really easily. These have held up really well. I've had this one for probably almost 2 years, I think. So I actually bought a couple of them and I'm still using the same one. So great option if you're trying to cut some weight and you can deal with the crinkly sound. Alright, so the last one we're going to take a look at here is a pack liner from Mountain Laurel Designs that I picked up. They sell these, one of the pros of these, really cheap. $5, you get a 2-pack. Gossamer Gear also sells something very similar, and maybe even the same ones. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But my brother picks them up, and they look pretty similar. So this is a poly bag, and so yeah, one of the pros, like I said, is the price. It is a little bit of a smaller liner in comparison to the Nylofume or the compactor bag. Probably similar size to like the drawstring kitchen bag. But it's a clear liner. One of the things I really like about this, it's a lot quieter. I'm not sure if the camera will pick this up, but there's a little bit of a sound to it, but nothing like the potato bag crinkly sound of the Nylofume. So it works really well in smaller volume packs. This is my Gossamer Gear Minimalist 24. It's a 24 liter pack. And I like to use this one in here. It fits this pack really well, as you can see. So this pack liner would work really well for a smaller volume pack. Maybe something like a Palante Simple or the Burn, Mountain Laurel Designs Burns. Any of the kind of smaller volume packs. One of the downsides to it, I would say, is the durability. It's not as durable as the compactor bag or the Nylofume. There is a little more give to it. It feels a little more like, not straight up like a, as much give as like the kitchen garbage bag, but there is a little more give to it. And this one actually has a few spots that I've found that it looks like some gear kind of almost poked through. It didn't completely puncture it, but it did look like it could puncture it pretty soon. But they're pretty cheap, $5 to get you a 2-pack of them. And probably not, you have to pay shipping as well, so you might want to grab a couple fill out an order on their website. They have some other cool stuff, just general trail gear and accessories. So kind of fill out an order. Like I say, Gossamer Gear also sells a very similar one. But yeah, great option for smaller packs. I really, really like it. Just keep an eye on the durability and make sure that you haven't developed any holes in it. So I think that was all of the liners. Let's see. Yeah, so kind of just a quick recap. The garbage bag, great to just try out. Everyone has one in their house. If you're heading out on a trip like this weekend or a day hike and you think there's going to be some rain, you want to try out how a liner works. Just use a garbage bag. You'll get the gist of it. So the Nylofume, great option. Really, really light. It's one of the lightest ones. We'll go over some weights after this. But again, really, really crinkly sound, and it just kind of drives me bonkers sometimes. So I tend to stray from that one these days. Compactor bag, tried and true. People have done tons and tons of hikes. They've been around, if you read pretty much any like outdoor backpacking book about how to backpack and all that, they talk about the compactor bag. I mean, back when I was in junior high in the outdoor club, we were using them. So, and I'm 37 now, so they've been around for quite a while. And then, so with the Mountain Laurel Designs liners, Gossamer Gear sells as well. Great for smaller packs. Just keep an eye on the durability because they do have a little more give to them. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If you guys have any other ones that you think I should check out, and more of in the disposable kind of realm, I know there's ones that are some Cuban fiber or DCF ones. There's some sil nylon ones. I've kind of shied away from those because eventually I find you do puncture them and you have to replace them. So I'd rather replace something that's a little more affordable than that. So I know that also that if you want to go really small, there's some people use their oven called oven bags, and there's the turkey size one. So if you just have kind of a smaller pack, or maybe you just don't have a lot of stuff you need to keep dry, your sleep system's just really tiny. Some people had pretty good luck with those. Probably similar kind of material to the Nylofume, just from the bags that I've handled before. So yeah, if you got any other options, I'd love to check out. I'm pretty happy with the compactor bag, but I always like playing around with gear and learning about what people are using. So yeah, down in the comments below, just let me know if you guys use a liner, your thoughts on it, and which one you kind of like to use and your preference. All right, so now that we've actually gone over all the different liners, we'll set up the scale. We'll get some weights for you guys. Alright, so for all my fellow gram weenies out there, figured I'd weigh these up for you. So I'm using an elastic just to put around those to make them a little easier to weigh. So in the interest of accuracy, we'll throw that on there and tear that out. I don't think it'll even register, but yeah, not really. But for the sake of accuracy, we'll do it. So we'll start with the lightest one here. Obviously, this is going to vary depending on what brand of garbage bag you're using, but this one in particular is an HDX brand. It's the one that Home Depot carries, like a big value pack of them that we use here at the house, so that's what that one is. So it looks like we're getting 22 grams or 0.75 ounces on that one. And here's the Nylofume bag. We have 30 grams. Yep, 30 grams. Or 1.05 ounces. This is the Mountain Laurel Design poly bag, air liner. It's like 36 grams. Or 1.25 ounces. And finally, the heaviest of the bunch here is the compactor bag, coming in at 67 grams, or 2.35 ounces. So yeah, quick update on the last video where I was talking about my MS and how I had a flare up and all that. Real quick, just wanted to thank everyone for all the amazing comments you guys left. It was really big boost to my morale and just kind of talking with folks, and just everyone was super encouraging. So I really appreciate that. And just wanted to guys give you a quick update where I'm at right now. I am still seeing a single image, which is awesome. I do still have some leftover symptoms that are, it's kind of hard to explain, but it's the best way I've been able to explain it is like when you wake up in the morning and everything's kind of blurry and your eyes are adjusting. It's kind of like that, and I have this weird sensation of kind of being sucked back in my head a little bit. I know that doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it's the only way I can describe it. And feel just a little tipsy. My balance is off, but I would say I'm probably about like 95% back with that 5% kind of weirdness going on. I have a doctor's appointment on Monday, checking with my neurologist, another MRI planned for the end of the month. We'll check on the lesions, hopefully those have chilled out. And yeah, I got out for a quick little hike with my wife. We did a small mountain, really small, more of a glorified hill, but I'll take what I can get, So this weekend I'm going up with BK, aka Lightning Legs, for those of you that follow the channel. You're familiar with my brother BK. And we're going to go up, just do a lollygag trip. Just get out in the woods and play with some deer and have a fire and just relax, have some bro time. Not going to be crushing any miles or anything like that. A couple miles into a shelter because it's going to rain, but we will bring contingency gear in case it does. The shelters, if there's people in it. So, but yeah, that's what we're planning on doing this weekend. Can't wait to get back up there. I really can't wait to be getting back to my 4,000 footer list though, and climbing some proper mountains. But we're shooting for November for that, or maybe mid-November, maybe end of November. We'll see. But yeah, that's where things are at with that. So until the next video, this is Lachlan from Mossstone Woodlore, and I just hope that you guys can get out, hit the trail, and yeah, even if you go to a local park, go in your backyard, set up some gear. As long as you're outside, that's what it's all about. So we'll see you guys in the next video, and take care.